RSS Lab presents me Lindo Rio Grande City.
Well, I was born here in Rio Grande, in el barrio del Picacho, in August 17th, 1930. So right now I'm 77 years old. In August I'll be 78. And I was born to Bonifacio Barrera and Antonio Rodriguez. Both of them, they had 14 sons and daughters. I was number 7. And I was born in El Picacho, and we stayed there until around, I was born in 1930. From there, in 1932, I believe, we moved down to the hills, Las Lomas. And my father made a house there in the middle of 4 hills, Cuatro Lomas, you know. And we've been there until I got married. I went into the army, I got married.
You're multi-talented, you're a singer, songwriter, artist. How did you nurture that as you were growing up?
Well, I think you're about the 3rd person that asked me that. And I think I have to attribute that to my dad. My father never went to school. He never went to school. And, but I don't know. I still don't know. I have a very vague idea of where he learned how to read and write on his own in Spanish. And he used to read a lot of stories to us almost every night. Nos decía cuentos. Mi papá nos decía cuentos. After supper, we would sit down and he would tell us a story. As a matter of fact, several of the songs I was reading about him, I relate that to, he used to tell us stories. And adivinanzas, the whole barrio would get there to listen to my dad and listen to the stories and listen to, I guess, los adivinanzas and dichos and all that. I was almost every night. I can tell you a little story about what happened to me in Spain. Way back on the 60s, I was over there. I had a scholarship, and on children's literature, and they brought in a presenter on stories, and he told us, "Les voy a contar un cuento that probably nobody here in this audience has ever listened to that story because it has never been written." And I got it from one of my trips that I made to certain caves and certain hills in certain islands close to Spain. And he told us the whole story where he had gotten those stories as a story. It's the one he told us there. And he started telling the little story. You know, there was a student next to me from Chaparral, New Mexico. And I told him, I heard that story before. And he told me, didn't you just heard what he said? He said, that story has never been written. I don't know, but I have the story. My father told me that story. And to prove to this gentleman that I had listened to a story, I was telling him the story prior to what he was saying, little things. And you know what he's going to say? He's going to say this. And sure enough, he didn't say that. Just a minute. After the presentation was over, he asked, how many of you have listened to that story before? Out of the 300, I was the only one. He said, I'd like to see you after this meeting. And he took me to this room, and he asked me, ¿dónde escuchó usted ese cuento? En mi casa. ¿Quién se lo contó? Mi padre. ¿Y dónde lo cogió tu padre? No sé, y ahora es muy difícil preguntarle porque hasta ya falleció, le dije. So I don't know, but I don't know. Dijo, did you, is the story exactly the way I said it? Exactly. And my friend was there with me. He said, I guess it's the same story because he was telling me the story before. You would say something, and that's how I believed him. And it's just, now there had been maybe some changes in words, but the meaning was there and the words were very close and the whole thing. And the story was the same story. And he was surprised to hear that. So, out of the whole thing, I guess the conclusion was that probably this story came from mouth to mouth. That's the only way I understand. But you see, my father was the type of man who would tell stories. I don't know where he would get them, and he would read almost every night in Spanish, very slowly, but he would read. My mother told me later that he used to read stories to her before there was any family. So I attribute the writing of this, writing of that to my dad. He was the one that encouraged us to, maybe not telling us to go ahead and do it, but by doing it himself. I sort of, got attached to that, and that's how I started writing songs. Then when I was in school, I used to write little notes to my friends and little stories and little drawings, and I would do everything, poems. As a matter of fact, there was a person that I was talking to, this person, and I said that I ran across, I'm constantly cleaning my place there, and I have a lot of writings, and I came across some of the poems I wrote in 1948 when I was in school, and the person was involved in some of the poems, and the person was surprised to listen to those poems, He says, "You mean tell me you used to write poems ever since?" Yeah, I did. I used to do that. And I kept on. And then for a while I stopped doing it. And then before I would go to bed, and I still do it. Before I would go to bed, I read and write little things, whatever comes to mind. There was a time that I would write a poem every day. El poema del día, I would say. And before I would go to bed, I had to write a poem on whatever it was, a little poem, short poems or whatever.
Mi Lindo Rio Grande, how long did it take you to write that song?
Mi Lindo Rio Grande is a song that I wrote for my mother. My mother used to sing a lot. She never went to school either, but she had a tremendous memory. And she would listen to a song, and believe it or not, she would pick it up on the first time she would listen to a song. And the most she would take was to listen to the song twice, and she would get it from the tone, and she was very good at it. And she mentioned to me one time, "You should write a song about Rio Grande." I said, maybe I will. So I wrote a song, and I used to go to the house and would sing it to her. And then when I didn't really check out how long it took me to write the song, because I would write a stanza, and then I had that in mind. But believe it or not, but I sat down to make a research on it, and a research in the sense that what am I going to talk about? And I related back to a song from a corrido from Mexico, Tampico Hermoso. Tampico Hermoso was the first corrido that was written, as far as I know, for financial purposes, to sell it. Other corridos were not sold at the beginning. They were just, they did sell them in the sense that the corridistas would walk into a place and they would sing a corrido. They would sing a corrido and le daban limosna. They would get money from that. And then later they print them. They would print them. And then they would sell them. 3 centavos, 1 centavo, 2 centavos, And the corrido It's very interesting that the authentic corrido, el auténtico corrido has three parts: la introducción, el contenido y la despedida. See, this corridista would walk into a town and they would stand on a corner and they would start singing. But the first part is they would ask permission to do the song, whatever it was, whatever the event was. Somebody killed somebody or something to that effect. And then they would start telling the stories. Now, some of the earliest corridos are very, very long because it's a whole story of something that has happened. Nowadays, they time you. As a matter of fact, Mi Lindo Rio Grande, they didn't record it the whole corrido because it was too long. They cut the last stanza. And they told me, we're going to have to leave one of the stanzas out because it has to be from 3 minutes, not longer than 3.5 minutes. A corrido now. So if you listen to the new corridos, they have about 4 stanzas and four versos to each stanza, and son 8, no more, because that's the length. And then the time of the corrido, that's how much it takes, from 2.5 to 3 minutes long, because they have to sell those. And but a corrido auténtica, the real corrido, La Zenaida has about 125 versos, you know, and then it stops, and then it continues later on, the story of the Zenaida, you know. I don't know if you're aware and familiar with that, but se trae una muchacha de allá de México, and he comes with her over here, and then later there's another corrido while they were living in the United States. And then, when she goes back, lo deja y se va porque resulta ser muy borracho, you know. And it's very interesting when you read about the corridos, you know. There's so many things. I have a series recorded on introducciones de corridos at the beginning, pidiendo permiso, and I have a lot of despedidas. Despedidas habrán oídos, pero como esta ninguna. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It rhymes, but it doesn't have any meaning at all. But that's como se despide, ¿verdad? Ya con esta me despido.
You're gonna sing us Mi Lindo Rio Grande today.
Mi Lindo Rio Grande. As a matter of fact, Mi Lindo Rio Grande. I would sing a corrido, and my wife, Celia Garcia, would criticize me. She's a very good critic. And she would criticize me and say, ¿por qué los corridos siempre dicen lo mismo? Why do the corridos always relate the same thing? The introduction. So I had to explain this to her. And she says, well, can you make a corrido without saying those things? Sure, you can make a corrido without saying anything. But it has to be according to, not according to, but more or less like the Tampico Hermoso style. You tell about a town, a place. Since this is going to be about Rio Grande, I divided it into 4 stanzas. The first stanza talks about the plants, the animals, the places, and the last one, the people from Rio Grande. So it's divided into those segments, and let's see how it comes out. El día en que yo me muera, atentamente quisiera que me canten mi canción. Dios quiera y se me conceda, de otra manera me fuera lleno de desilusión. Quiero que un mariachi cante con su voz fuerte y brillante a la orilla de mi ataúd. Mi canción, Lindo Río Grande, que les cantaba a mis padres allá por mi juventud. Pondré allí mi despedida, punto final a mi vida, y para siempre adiós me iré. y aunque de aquí me retiro, no los echaré en olvido, en mi canción siempre estaré. Venga ese puño de tierra que ha sido mi compañera desde el día en que yo nací. Cóbranme junto a mis padres, quiero de nuevo cantarles como les cantaba aquí. Soy de la tierra del sol hirviente de Río Grande, lugar de lomas donde hay palomas y mezquitales, región que el indio dejó regados sus pedernales, nido de pitas, de anacahuitas y de nopales, son sus pitayas que me decoran con sus colores, lindos huizachis que nos perfuman con sus olores, donde el sinsontle vive picando el chile del monte, y el cambio del tiempo anuncia el coyote en el horizonte. Ay, mi Río Grande, tú que me vistes nacer y de niño me educaste, también me vistes crecer. Ay, lindo Río Grande, tú me hiciste lo que soy, por eso siempre en mi mente te llevo por donde voy. La Santa Cruz que está en la loma, Crucita Santa, hace testigo de lo que digo y también lo canta, que son las aguas del Río Grande, según parece, son las que dicen y hacen a todos a que regresen. Tiene su gente bien amigable, bien amistosa, siempre dispuesta para ayudarles en cualquier cosa. Hay un ambiente que hasta se siente lo que es ternura. Esa es mi gente de Río Grande, pura dulzura. Ay, mi Río Grande, tú que me vistes nacer y de niño me educaste, también me vistes crecer. Ay, lindo Río Grande, tú me hiciste lo que soy, por eso siempre en mi mente